This week, we saw another violent incident on an LA Metro bus. A suspect hijacked the bus, shot a passenger, killing him. This was the latest in a dozen violent crimes aboard Metro buses and trains this year. They've been generating a lot of bad headlines. Yesterday at a press conference, the board of directors of Metro denounced the violence, again tried to reassure riders that they're doing everything in their power to keep them safe. Joining me now to talk about all of this and what can be done is Eli Lipmen. He's the executive director for Move LA. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your reaction when you saw what happened this week?
Right. I mean, obviously, horror, concern. You know, we're a rider advocacy group, so we talk to riders all the time and ride the system. I rode the train here today. You know, but I jumped on the train actually the next day with the CEO of Metro and two supervisors, and we took it to the Metro board meeting together, something we had been planning for a couple of weeks to do. You know, and there are almost 1 million riders who are coming on the system every single day, like today, who are riding the system. Mothers, workers, people who need to get to their job or a doctor's appointment or to their school. And, you know, we're being sure that we're extra vigilant, but we still have to get to where we need to go. And that's the key thing here.
Right. There's kind of two sides to this issue, because one, they're commuters who rely on the system every day. They don't have a choice whether it's safe or not. And then there's also like the larger, I hate to call it a PR problem, but people who don't ride Metro but see the headlines, they feel like it's unsafe. Yeah. Let's start with, what's the vibe among commuters? Do they generally feel safe? Are these incidents we see outliers?
Yeah, when we talk to riders, you know, folks who are riding regularly, generally they see this as outliers, right? I mean, they're riding the system most of the time, and they're okay and they're fine. And if they see something that they don't really like, you know, you have to be a little bit extra vigilant out there. And so, you know, we're seeing that people are concerned. Obviously, they read the newspaper, they see the news as well. So they're concerned, but they need to get to work every day, and they're not about to switch the way that they get to work because of one or two incidents. I think also we have to really consider the timing, right? This was very late at night. And as a parent, that really concerns me. You know, I have a kid who's 20 years old, a restaurant worker who got off late at night on a shift and took the bus home. So yeah, it really concerns me, because we do have these workers who serve us who are riding late at night, and that's when these incidents are typically happening. So we have to be cognizant about the timing of when this happened. But, you know, I ride all the time in the middle of the day, and yesterday when I talked to you on the phone, everyone was calm and safe, and it was a good experience.
That's right. He really is a true believer. When I called him to book this segment, he was literally on a train. So what more can be done? Because Mayor Bassett already announced this surge in police officers on trains and buses, but it's not feasible to have an armed officer on every single train. So what more can be done?
Absolutely, and I think it's the same thing with any public space, right? A school or a park, right? And we're seeing gun violence across the country. I mean, really, it's our federal government's job to step up, because guns are really a huge problem here, but not only for this, but across the country. And so that's something that we think needs to be done. But also, I want a huge shout out to the hero on all this, the operator, who not only had the wherewithal to turn on that sign on the front of the bus, but they actually had installed this barrier so that the operator was safe and could safely operate the bus and help the people. You know, unfortunately, the person who was killed, it's a tragedy, but there were a couple of others on the bus that were able to get to safety, and that's really because of the operator. So I think protecting the operators is going to be the first thing we can do. Why? Because they're the ones who are still operating these buses and need to be trained in how to deal with these situations. But we need more service. That's going to get more people on transit. That's actually what can make transit safer, is actually if we have more people taking and riding transit more regularly, because there's just safety in more numbers. But I do think that we need to look at some other options as well to make sure that, you know, we don't have guns on transportation. It's actually a federal crime to have it on a transportation vehicle.
Right. And Supervisor Janice Hahn speaking yesterday about maybe having some sort of weapons detection software, so There's a lot more to talk about here. Eli Lipmen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Well, and just one last thing. This coming week, September 30th through October 6th, is SoCal Transit Week. This is our tap card, and we're encouraging people. We have a whole bunch of events. If you go to SoCalTransitWeek.org, we have all these transit rider events that you can go to and just have fun for free with other transit advocates. So we're encouraging people to actually take more transit. It's good for the climate, it's good for the earth, and it's good for your physical health as well. So we're concerned about safety, but we also want to just encourage people to keep riding transit because it's important.
All right, Eli, made sure you might see me
There's
out
a tap
there.
card.
All
Get
right.
one for free.